When Father Paul's appearance on Crockett Island coincided with unexplained and seemingly miraculous events, a renewed religious fervor takes hold of the community. But do these miracles come at a price?
From The Haunting of Hill House creator Mike Flanagan, Midnight Mass tells the tale of a small, isolated island community whose existing divisions are amplified by the return of a disgraced young man and the arrival of a charismatic priest.
Coming September 24th, Horror Movie Talk presents the Midnight Mass After Show. We'll break down each episode of this 7-part series with a companion after show episode. Tune in and tell your friends to subscribe to Horror Movie Talk presents the Midnight Mass After Show.
Today's episode is brought to you by Rubik's Cube.
Sure, Sir Isaac Newton unraveled the mysteries of gravity, but could he have unraveled the mysteries of Rubik's Cube? 3 weeks ago, Judge Smith retired to her chambers with Exhibit A, Rubik's Cube. She hasn't been seen since. Warning, once you get your hands on Rubik's Cube, you may never be able to put it down. Rubik's Cube, over 3 billion combinations, but just one solution from Ideal.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
The stroll through the scraggly woods. He had no face! Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hansen, who holds a PhD in spookology, and me, Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. We have a fabulous episode for you guys today. We will be reviewing the kind of cult classic 1997's Canadians Cube. Mm-hmm. Canadian Cube.
I wish we could pull the cube from that commercial. He says it he enunciates a lot.
You'll be stuck in this cube forever.
You need to solve the cube.
With 17 billion combinations, you're totally fucked.
Buy a Rubik's Cube today.
Yeah, a cool thing you may not know about our show, Horror Movie Talk, is that we have the very best community of any podcast ever, although that's up for debate now. A lot of people are, Bryce, I think we should talk about this maybe in the spoilers. What to do about the hashtag SS Experiment Camp 2 people.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little backlash.
Yeah, a lot of backlash.
Yeah, kind of.
Statistically speaking, people are not enthusiastic about it. Which
I'm delighted by.
Yeah, me too. So anyway, you can check out our website, horrormovietalk.com, and from there you'll find links to all of our social media. We have watch parties every second Saturday. That means this coming Saturday, we're going to watch some movie on streamlounge.io. So go ahead and make an account over there at streamlounge.io. And then we will, we'll be watching it with you or something. Mm-hmm. We post new episodes every single Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe. And really, if you want to help out the show, share it with a friend and review it on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out a whole bunch. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. Not a lot of calls. Not a lot of calls recently. I'm a little surprised. We have big listenership, not so many calls, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway,
maybe we just answered all the questions.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe we've done it.
Everyone's told us all of their stories of banging hookers and
yeah, I don't know what it is about our voicemail line that just attracts the dregs, but I love it.
Hey. Whoa.
As I said, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be watching Cube. We already watched Cube. We're going to be reviewing it. We start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. 1's terrible, 10's absolutely fabulous, abfab, and 5 is totally average. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive on what we liked and hated about the film. And later in this episode, we will be doing an old classic game, the Rotten Tomatoes game. So stick around for that.
I think every time we say cube, we have to enunciate the B. Cube.
Okay. So as I said, we watched Cube from 1997, and it held my attention from start to finish with an interesting premise and very little in terms of budget. So without any further ado, here is the trailer.
A cube.
26 rooms high, 26 rooms across.
17,576 rooms.
Does anybody remember how they got here?
Why would they throw innocent people in here? Are we being punished?
There's a way in here, so there's gotta be a way out.
Do you think they'd go to all the trouble to build this thing if we could just walk out?
Take a good long look around. But I got a feeling it's looking at us.
We have about 3 days without food and water before we're too weak to move.
I just want to wake up.
Looks no room down there, and something almost cut my head off.
Motion detectors integrated into the walls. Tough to spot.
You're not getting out of here.
Yes, we are!
There is no way out of here!
We need to get around the trap.
They're identified by prime numbers.
Figure it out.
I can't!
I'm not dying in a rat maze!
No more talking. No more guessing. You gotta save yourselves from yourselves.
What the hell's going on?
We haven't been moving in circles, the rooms have.
We have the key. The cube is us.
The cube.
Cube has a Cube is available for rent on most online platforms. Cube has
And it's streaming with ads on Plex.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Cube has a simple premise. An assortment of individuals, which you basically heard the whole. That trailer
that's
gives
the movie.
That's everything away.
You could just not see the movie.
Right. It has a simple premise. An assortment of individuals wake up and find themselves trapped in a maze of cubes. Each side and the ceiling and floor of each room they enter has a door on it. Some cubes are booby-trapped, and others are safe. Each individual brings a unique perspective and talent to the party, and they all must work together to escape the cube. In the end, everyone gets more cube than they bargained for.
Whoa. Everyone gets more what?
Cube.
Okay.
My review for Cube is that it's an interesting, low-budget sci-fi horror from the 90s. While that low-budget feel is present in Cube, director Vincenzo Natali does a great job of masking it with a variety of clever choices. Saw, which came out in 2004, feels as if it were modeled after Cube, or maybe a loving tribute to the Cube. But it's interesting to see what it feels like to start to see the start of the puzzle gore genre. I feel like this is kind of the proto puzzle gore kind of thing.
Yeah.
The setting and premise of Cube are compelling and force the audience to imagine the setting that they aren't allowed to see. Whenever a movie makes me imagine the larger scale universes or sets that they hint at, it works quite well for me. My imagination does a fabulous job of filling in all of the questions or asking more compelling questions, kind of setting me on kind of a cube conquest, if you will. The primary focus of this movie is on a handful of cube dwellers and their attempt to escape the cube. You're dying.
This is my favorite thing. This is going to make this so much more enjoyable for me.
These are very highly exaggerated, stereotypical 90s protagonists that can fit into their own little boxes.
Their own little Cubes.
These protagonist tropes range in the following ways. We have the nerdy student who wears glasses and can do math. We have the disaffected office worker. We have the overly aggressive cop. We have the empathetic doctor. We have the autist, of course. And then we have the escape artist. The puzzle aspects of Cube are often explained through confusing dialogue with questionable logic, but I never found myself hung up on these problems. Instead, I just had a little chuckle to myself about simpler times and then let the movie unravel at its pace. At the end, I found myself engaged and interested in the story and the reason for the Cube. And I will be watching Cube 2, Hypercube. I actually started it last night.
Oh, man.
The score I give Cube is a 6 out of 10. I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good fun movie that made me go, huh. You know? Like I like the aspect of like, why is it there? And then they don't answer it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm starting to understand, like, this is kind of your wheelhouse of the high concept, like, mystery.
Yeah.
But
don't answer it.
not really a satisfying answer. It's more satisfying to have it be a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, let you think, like, well, what's it for? What are they doing? And to me, that concept is so played out to me, to where it's like when you watch a show like Lost, you're like, oh, okay, they're going to just insert random things and add cliffhangers arbitrarily and then say that they're connected somehow, but it's not. It doesn't matter. It's literally a device to create mystery and create tension.
I see what you're saying. I guess the problem I have with the thing that you're saying is that it's like you chose the pulpiest version of this you could possibly choose, right? So, like, Lost is just like a vehicle for confusion. It's just like,
I don't know. I mean,
bullshit.
I think Lost is better than this. Like, I think it's more cohesive, like, along the way. Like, there's moments when you think you're like, oh, something is being revealed, and you like retain that, and by the end, you haven't really noticed how grab baggy those like revelations are, that they don't really connect. Same thing with X-Files. X-Files is another example of like all of the lore episodes of X-Files where they've got like the black oil, and they've got the guys affected by black oil, and then some other guy, and it's like, whoa, what? They're all, hiding this alien conspiracy, and then in the end, you step back and you're like, well, it doesn't. It's really weird. It doesn't make any sense where it all connects, but you just know they all have something to do with something, and that's kind of what Lost does. And this one, it's like, I can't. Maybe that's why you liked it so much, because it never actually reveals anything or the rationale. It has a lot of like theory exposition throughout. Yeah. And you're supposed to be like, oh, that's what it is.
Or extrapolate to your own, like, I mean, it leaves it very, it never like neatly ties anything up for you at all.
Right. It's literally...
I like it for the same reason that I like metal album artwork. Uh-huh. It's just a fucking crazy concept that they throw out there, and then it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's fucking fucked up. And then you look at it and you're like, wow. And then you listen to the album and you're like, well, I guess this is what it's about, but I don't know, it could be anything. Or like have you ever seen like a Blue Oyster Cult cover? That you're just like, what the shit is this? And then you listen to it and it's Blue Oyster Cult and you're like, oh. It's kind of like that. I like the question aspect of it a lot.
So you just like watch the trailer and you're like, wow, it looks really interesting. And then you watch the Cube and you're like, oh.
No, you get the Cube. Oh. So they're in it, but like, so what happens when they get out? We don't know. Like, supposedly something good.
They go to heaven, I guess.
This is like a conceptual thing a lot. You know, the thing that fleshed it out a little bit better, it basically took this and ran with it, was the platform.
Yeah.
Right?
That had, like... That was much more obviously a social commentary.
Right.
And, like... had a purpose.
This had heavy-duty social commentary in it, too.
Did it?
Yeah. Yeah, the office worker was the social... I mean, every character was a trope on, like, society.
I guess. A little bit. I mean, it's definitely not as cohesive as the platform.
No.
I mean, I respect it for what it is, which is a low-budget, high-concept movie, like, but it's not good. I didn't like it.
Oh, really? What score do you give it?
Take your score and have it.
Whoa! You give it a 3?
3 out of 10.
Jesus.
It's like an hour and 27 minutes movie, and I checked the time like 4 times throughout.
I didn't check it ever.
I was like,
How did you think they did with their super low budget? I think they had a budget of something like $300,000.
Well, it makes sense. It's literally all you have to build is 2 cubes.
1. Well,
you have to have what's on the other side of the door.
Nope. You just... If you notice the way they do the camera angles, it's all just 1 cube. They don't have... They may have a backing. Like, they may have, like, a back wall.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
But it's
probably just a cube, like the back wall, or when they're shooting it...
They only built 1 cube.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
okay,
confirmed.
so whenever they're looking into the next cube, they're looking from the outside of the cube.
Right.
In.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So they built
cube
essentially 7 walls, 1 on the outside.
Right.
And then 6 on the inside.
Right. Yeah.
With some LED lights behind them, basically.
No, they were gels.
Or gels.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real labor intensive to change the gels, you know?
I bet. Can you imagine how much easier it would be with just like an LED light?
Oh my God.
RGB light where you're just like, okay, we can just dial in any color we want.
If you were to make this movie now, you could make it with like $50,000 instead of $350,000.
Oh yeah. You would make 1 wall in CG and put them in a green screen
There
box.
is something that is nice about like the mechanical aspect of the whole thing, like the way because I started Hypercube last night, the second one, and it's more modern. Like it's like they have touch panels instead of like the click 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 thing. And
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that felt very 90s in it, and that was one of them. It's like I love every like doomsday device or every like device that you need to operate is operated by twisting it twice and then pushing or pulling in.
Yeah.
Or a combination of both.
So I think this movie is an impressive achievement in a lot of ways. Like the stuff they were able to pull off with basically nothing. Like they had some very cheap CG.
Yeah.
And
literally just like lines.
Yeah, and like a blowtorch.
Right.
And then sometimes it was gas, which is fucking invisible. You just have a hiss sound, you know. But each time I was like, oh, shit. Oh, it's going to happen in this cube. And then something would happen and be like, oh, don't go in that cube.
There's so many cubes.
Yeah. So like I said, a budget of $350,000. They did almost 10 times that. They made $9 million on this. That's huge. So, successful movie has spawned 2 others. Hypercube, Cube Squared, Hypercube, and then Cube Zero.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
People love them.
People love the cubes.
A lot of people love cubes.
Yeah. Anyway, well, not Bryce. Let us know if Bryce is wrong by calling 682-253-4468. Leave us a voicemail and say, you know, Bryce... You need to.
Bryce? Fuck you.
You need to pay some respect to Cube.
What? Sorry,
Cube. If you would like to pay your respect, you can do so by heading on over to nightchannels.com. They have all the best in occult, satanic, horror, music, shirts, and sweatshirts, attire, and just a ton of like deep cut imagery on their shirts, stuff that you've never seen before. And you know what? We got a little thing over here at Horror Movie Talk called the Night Channels Challenge. And all that is you just hop on their website. That's all you have to do. And you've completed the Night Channels Challenge. Head on over to nightchannels.com, browse their website for 5 minutes. I dare you. And if you don't buy something on your first visit, something will have worked its way into your little head, and you'll be like, I got to go back. I got to get that Akira t-shirt. I got to get it. I got to get that Society t-shirt. I got to get that Hellraiser t-shirt. And I got to get that Friday the 13th 8-bit t-shirt. And if you use code HMT at checkout, you'll get 13% off your order at nightchannels.com. We love them over there. And they've supported the show for a long time. And the reason they keep supporting us is because you people take the Night Channels Challenge. You find yourself a shirt that you can't live without. And now they got that premium Bella Canvas shirt, which is so silky soft and so flattering in the fit that you probably should check that out instead of the normal Gildan, or is it Glidden?
It's Gildan.
Gildan, instead of the normal Gildan.
And the Bella option has extra small choice, and they basically replaced all their women's T-shirts with the Bella option because it's such a better improvement.
Yeah, it's huge.
So yeah, check that out. Two different qualities of shirts and lots of just awesome options for horror fans.
Yeah, if you guys if you guys are listening to these commercials, you should know that you do not have to. If you support us on Patreon at the $6.66 level, you get access to early releases of episodes. We've been recording a ton of extra episodes, putting them on there early lately, and on those we cut out the commercials, so you don't have to listen to these commercials. And you get to support the show, so it goes towards a great cause. You know, just for a moment, I'd like to take a moment and thank all of our patrons for supporting us. The show really could not happen at the level that it's happening without you guys, and so
all the people that you just described won't be listening to this section, we're thinking.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It seems like some of them still listen on the normal RSS feed. But in any event, I do appreciate the support that we receive from our patrons, and it's the main way we get help. Yeah,
it's astounding and ongoing. It's amazing the support we have from the community.
For sure. Another way, if you'd like to support the show and rock our logo, you can do so by heading on over to horrormovietalk.com/shop. We got stickers, we got magnets, we got coasters, we got shirts, we got all kinds of stuff created by our hard fucking artist, Dustin Goebel. This dude, if you haven't checked out dgoebel00, that's DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Take a step back and go, what am I doing? What the fuck? Why haven't I checked out Dustin? He's doing all this shit, and I'm not paying him the respect he deserves. Put some respect on Dustin's name. Head on over to his Instagram. Bryce, get your hand out of your pants.
Put some respect on my name.
I know.
Yeah, also, he has a Twitch channel where he's been actually doing the artwork for HMT, streaming that on Twitch, and it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, usually on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So check him out. Again, if you'd like to get a hold of the show, 682-253-4468. We don't have any new voicemails this episode. I don't know what's going on. You guys are slacking. Thanks again for listening, and let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah. If I don't know if we've even mentioned it on the pod yet, but
yeah, we have.
Our original mixer gave up the ghost.
Took a shit. Yeah. Rip Yamaha. New all hail Tascam. our new mixer. Which is, to be fair, this is a much improved unit. Just doesn't have that. All those voice
Just doesn't
effects.
have like the voice changer aspect of it.
It's a bummer.
It does have effects. Like I could put echo on us.
Echo's lame.
Yeah, it's not the
a
same
cool
as
effect.
pitch change.
It's not the same as Satan. Anywho, so okay, this movie's. I don't know if this movie started the trend that I'm about to describe, but it definitely takes part in it, and that is blowing your load in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
It's almost exactly the same beginning as Ghost Boat.
Also as 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Like these movies that just like throw their entire budget at you in the first 5 minutes, and then they're like, they just got their dick in their hand the rest of the whole movie, and it's like, so it starts out with a dude who gets cheese wired. Mm-hmm. You know, actually, Resident Evil, the first movie, stole this whole cloth. Stole this exact intro, whole cloth. Have you seen that? With the lasers?
I mean, it feels like there's a couple where it was people chopped up into cubes, or got cut in half with a wire or something.
Yeah.
Lots of, like, shocked expressions and then...
Little drip of blood.
Little drip of blood.
Yeah.
And then slowly sliding off.
Yeah, he's
everything's sloughing off in straight lines.
Yeah, he's been cheese wired, right? So a bunch of teeny tiny, super thin piano wires. Swipe one way and swipe the other way, so he gets cubed. Right, and then he falls apart in all these cubes.
Cubes.
Right, and it's a pretty cool effect. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely that quality doesn't those special effects do not hold up throughout the movie. There is the kill, the acid kill, which is pretty badass.
Yeah. Also early on in the movie.
Right. Also within the first 20 minutes or so.
There's like, what? You can count how many kills there are because there's not that many characters. So
there's exactly 6 people. But why? Because that's how many sides a cube has. A cube.
Oh.
Right.
Makes you say,
Wait, hang on. Is that right? So we got escape artist, autist, empathetic doctor.
Autist doesn't enter the scene until much later.
No, but he's a character. Overly aggressive cop, that's 4. And then, office worker and math girl. So there's actually
the old guy.
So there's actually 7 if you count the guy who gets cubed at the start. But that's the 7th wall that they had to make for the backing shot.
Right. So, I mean, in terms of, like, actual interesting kills, there's only, like, okay, so there's the cubed, there's the acid.
Yeah.
And then
there's the end one where the cop is trying to get out of the doorway, and the cube just goes whoop, starts sliding the other way.
So that was 3.
That was shown off screen.
Was there none in between the acid and the end of the movie?
They let the doctor fall out of the cube.
So you have 2 interesting kills. It sets this movie up as like, buckle your seatbelts. We're going to have a lot of graphic, gory, interesting kills. And then for another hour, there's nothing.
Well, you see, that's not true. Like I said, at the end, the cop gets the scissor.
Right, at the end.
Right. But in the middle, there's the doctor who gets, who drops into, like, that's the existential one to me. Like, that's the truly terrifying one of, holy shit. Like, so so we're just going to hop right into this if you don't mind.
But she doesn't die, though.
Oh, she doesn't?
No. Remember, she gets dropped off the side of the cube.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's the weirdly...
That's the existential one?
Yes, that's the weirdly, like... ugh. Like, that one makes
I thought you were talking about the gas one. No,
no.
I mean, even that, the dropping off the cube, that was like...
Okay.
At least
hang
20
on.
minutes. Only 20 minutes left.
So let me describe this. This is a massive Rubik's Cube. Massive.
Cube.
Like a cube. It's so huge. And at some point they find the side of it, you know, where they're like, they open up the door and they're like, oh, we're at the side of the cube. But when they find the side of it, it's just this big fucking dark room. It's like, we're on the side of it. Like, it doesn't appear to be held up by anything. We can't see the bottom. We can't see the top. We can't see anything. And so, like, where is this? Do you just fall forever? Like, what? Like, what are the rules here? And being dropped into that's, I don't know, that worked for me. It's not, in terms of it being like a visual, I think visual is cool too, because it's like, what's going on out there?
Sure.
Wow, you're just gonna stonewall me here.
It's just not. It just wasn't that interesting to me.
Hey,
it was just okay. I would like an answer for why, at least like a some kind of indication that it could be one of these two things, but mostly it just says, it just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
It just happened because people are bad.
Well, red tape too. You know, government.
Yeah, but even that's like kind of like, we're given these theories, but they're all by people that don't know anything about what's going on at all. So, like, how the fuck would they know anyways?
Well, I think... Okay, so let's get into these characters. We got the cop, the doctor, the escape artist, the student, and the office guy. These are the people who add, like, storyline to things. And then later on, the autistic guy... gets dropped in on them, but he doesn't really add anything in terms of like dialogue or story. He's literally the key to the puzzle in that he's able to do complex prime number equations in his head, just like that.
He's able to do permutations. Is that what it was?
Yeah, like a savant.
Factoring. Yeah.
And so with these, with the cop, the doctor, and the student, and the office guy, of them, the most compelling to me, who is your favorite character? Or did you have one where they all just kind of...
They're all just like blah to me. I mean, even the most interesting would probably be the office worker guy, but he's supposed to be the most interesting one. And it's very transparent, like, this is the guy that you're supposed to be like, hey, he's kind of a rebel, like, he's blah, 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 and he's going to be the guy that, in the end, transforms into a guy that cares. Like, it's such a trope. You're like, okay.
But you can't... What's it like to be so jaded? Like, even I'm not that jaded that I can't just suspend my disbelief to have a good time at this movie.
Because it doesn't feel like any of them are real. It feels like they're all a parody of these types of characters.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't help that they're all terrible actors.
You would not like Hypercube.
Oh my God.
Cube.
The acting in this movie is almost as bad as the writing.
Whoa! What? Wow! Just shots everywhere. Shot.
This is a line from the movie. You should take your nose and shove it up your own ass, you take your nose and shove it up other people's asses and smell their business.
And the Academy Award goes to Bryce Hanson.
That's not an exact line, but that is an exact line.
I mean, you introed it with this is an exact line.
Right. I might have got one or two words wrong, but that is literally a thing that's said.
The answer, so there's a couple things that happen along the way. We're not going to go through this thing beat for beat. No. So suffice it to say
there's not many beats. They go from one cube to another cube for the entirety of the movie.
Right. I mean, and then we are fed a steady drip of info. And it starts with like, so our disaffected, jaded office worker is like, oh, I'm so tired with everything. But also he knows from the start where they are. They're in a cube that he helped build. He was contracted to build the outer walls of this thing to like
of the cube.
And so he knows how big it is. It's 27 cubes by 27 cubes. And
well, he knew how long it was, and then the student figured it out with math.
She had glasses, so she had to know how to do math. Yeah, and so he's like, you know, the drip that he gives us is so, I love it. Like it's, he's like, the military-industrial complex, man. It's just a bunch of fucking red tape. They have money, so they got to justify they got to justify their existence, and so this is how they do it, by building gigantic fucking cubes all over the place.
Right.
So who knows why we got picked to do this, but you know, it's here, so they got to put people in it, right? You can't just leave cubes sitting around.
I just thought of a great way to analyze this. Why it's not a good movie.
Whoa.
Like, if this was a Star Trek The Next Generation episode, would it be satisfying, or would it be a good episode in any way?
Bryce, this literally was a Star Trek TNG episode.
I know, but why was the episode better?
Why was the Star Trek episode better?
Right.
But see, I think that episode is... Which episode are you thinking of, by the way?
Well, there's the one where Picard just shows up in this cube with, I think it's 4 other aliens.
That's the one you're thinking of. Okay,
there's a couple that are like this.
Yeah, there's a couple. I'm thinking of a season 2 one with Worf and Riker, and I think Crusher wasn't there yet, so it was Data.
Uh-huh.
They all showed up into that. Wow.
Oh, is it the one with the boy that made all the holograms? Is that?
Yeah. Like they showed up in this like Western town. Or like a saloon that has they can open the door, but it's just like the vast expanse of space.
Oh no, that was the hotel one.
Yeah, the hotel one.
Right,
yeah,
where the astronaut was like dead in the room. Yeah. And in the end, there was an answer for what is this thing, and why does it exist? And like it
was like some. Yeah, there's always an answer with TNG.
Yeah, it's like. It was satisfying because there was a reason and some kind of commentary and like a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And this one doesn't. It's just like literally a device.
Yeah.
It's not just a story device, but it's a story device about a device. A cube.
I'm so like... I appreciate media that gives me a cool device and then lets me go with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'd be so interested. So
the different theories too. Like while I was listening to the doctor describe what it was, and like the cop and then the office worker give their like theories, I was like, okay, this is why David likes it. Like those
you didn't
kinds
even know if I liked it.
No, I knew you liked it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, well, you said.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember calling you, I was like, cube? Because this exists in my head in the same spot as 13 Ghosts and Ghost Boat.
Oh, and how do you rank it in terms of those? We're not fans of Ghost Boat and 13 Ghosts, by the way. Both directed by the same. Ghost Ship, I should say.
It's better than Ghost Boat and 13 Ghosts. Slightly. Not.
You gave Ghost Ship 5.
Well, Ghost Ship was more enjoyable in terms of kitschiness. Like, there's a lot of, like, kitschiness and just variety in it.
It's got star power, too.
Yeah. And this one, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe Ghost Boat is a little better than this one.
No.
It's right in there, though. Like, they're in the same, in my mind, and again, this is just my opinion.
This is so much more enjoyable than Ghost Ship.
But when you, like, I was like, why cube? And you're like, no, it's not what you think.
It's not.
It's it's like a decent sci-fi thing. And I started watching it, I'm like, no, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Like,
I'm so disappointed in my ability to read you.
And, but I realized, like, I saw throughout, I was like, these are all the things that David would like. Like, there's a lot of things that touch on your wheelhouse of like mystery, social commentary, like conspiracy theory sized of it, and
Yeah.
I mean it is very kind of comic booky too. Like it kind of feels that way. Yeah, so even in like, I mean, they're in a panel basically.
Right.
It's a cube.
So much of this movie is the same shot over and over again and I think it was all done with a handheld camera. This is super low budget, but I'd be so interested. So like, I'd be so interested. So my favorite series of book is by my favorite author, Ian Banks, Scottish author who did the best sci-fi series of books ever, in my opinion, called The Culture. And I would just love it if you read one of the books of this series.
Did you like Foundation? Like the Foundation series?
Foundation. I don't think I've read that.
I think it's by someone famous. It's not.
But
anyways.
But I'll say I'd be so interested to have you read one of those books because it's like high level this. It's like it's just like a bunch of fucking ideas that he allows to like play out, and then like no like judgment or justification necessary. Like there are minor efforts at justification. But mostly it's like, this is the way this society does it, or this is the way that society does things. That's how, and should they be allowed to? Like, abortion, good, bad, you be the judge. You know, it's just like.
Abortion for some, tiny American flags for others.
So, yeah, I guess that's a good point. This is a blind spot for me. I think I go, people like being allowed to make up their minds and to be made to think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good version of that.
Oh,
like there's, like
you're just kicking me in the balls over and over.
I'm sorry, I just didn't like it. I was bored.
So he explains that it's maybe the military-industrial complex. That maybe who knows what this is? Maybe this is under New Mexico or like Nevada.
I mean, the most interesting like take on it was the office workers, and I think that's probably what you're supposed to walk away with as the like the hypothesis of this movie, which is no one knows. Like, there's no one person that understands what's going on. It's all a machine, and everyone's just a cog in it, and no one made the decision. It just happened.
Right.
Like, there's no evil power. It's just like just through the amalgamation of how bad we are as a society, this thing came to be.
But also, I mean, that could be read so many ways, right? Like, so like there's the theory of alternate universes, right? Where everything, the probability of things happen, like everything that could probably happen is happening in some form of some universe somewhere.
Right.
And so this is just maybe the universe where accidentally or intentionally we make a giant cube and then put people in it for who knows what reason.
Or it could just be made by a random collision of atoms and particles.
Yeah, well, that too. All of those. Like, any iteration of explanation as to why the cube has been made, all of those are valid in some universe somewhere.
Right.
Right. And there's infinite amounts of universes and infinite cubes that are taking place, and permutations of them going into each room and solving the cube. This just so happens to be...
Did they mention parallel universes in this, or is that just you filling in?
See, this is just me going, wee!
Yeah, you love that stuff. I'm sitting here trying to figure out the movie that I'm watching, and they're not giving me anything to hold on to.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. If it forces me to... See, I guess the difference is you look at it and you're like... Your imagination is sparked and you're like, could be all these things. And like, I'm filling in the lore of this world. You did this with what was that other movie we just watched that I hated and you liked?
Willow Creek?
No. Anyways, it was one where maybe. Oh, it was a new release. It was
Candyman?
Candyman. Yeah, that's right. Like, go back and listen to the episode on Candyman. You realize, like, oh, you were filling in a lot of, like, what the story was about by coming up with, like, an explanation in your imagination, and you find that enjoyable. To me, I do the same thing, but I frame it as, this is how they could have made it a better movie. As if they had this element in it.
Yeah.
Or if they went this way with it, or they explain it this way. And, like, I frame it from a place of disappointment. You frame it from a framework of hope, possibility.
Possibility. Yeah. If they don't close, and you know what? That's a good point, because every time they explain something, they close the door of possibility.
Right.
Right? And
close the door on the cube.
And you're made happy or sad based on that, based on the fact that they've taken the moment to explain the way this works. And all that happens to me is they shut the door on my imagination. They go, no, this is how this works. And I go, oh, okay, well, maybe I can read into it somewhere else.
Right.
You know?
I mean, to me, also, the other thing is, like, it feels very cliche. Maybe not at the time when it was released, but this is definitely, I could see all the things happening a mile away. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's...
Like, the character types, I'm like, okay, this guy's...
You don't find that kind of comforting, though?
Yeah, sometimes, if they're done well and the writing's good and the acting's good,
right.
Which isn't the case in this movie.
Hey.
But also, like, what could this cube be? Right. And it's like, well, here are the three things that immediately jump to my head. Like, they could go easily one of these three ways. And then those are the exact three ways that they explain it could be, but they don't commit to any of them. Uh-huh. And what I'm looking for is the fourth way that I didn't think of, you know?
Oh, okay.
And even some of those that I came up with was like, oh, they didn't even mention those. Like, that was never even mentioned as a possibility or a place of tension.
So what were they?
They could have been like, okay, one would be, like, the three that they mentioned was like, okay, government, rich, insane person.
Wow. Hey, can you imagine how... I don't think even Jeff Bezos could build this cube.
Right. And then 3 is society man.
Society man.
Those are the 3 that they mentioned.
Uh-huh.
4th would be someone in the group. Ooh. It would have been like aloof guy, or the office worker guy, like he actually did it, or a cop guy. Like the cop, like gung-ho guy. It was like, he built it.
What the fuck?
Like Saw. I mean, it's basically, he's going to stand up. He's going to stand up in the middle of the cube. He's going to be like, it was me all along. And then another one, I mean, just spitballing here, it could be aliens.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It could be the afterlife. I think I thought, like, the afterlife at some time, like, at the end when the cube bridge opens, it's just a white light. You're like, okay, this could be purgatory, it could be hell. Like, easily, these number of things. And I'd take all of those, and I'd say, these are the obvious answers. Like, these are like, if you took a template of this type of story. So if you were making this
movie, you'd take all these obvious answers and you'd cross them all out, and then you'd make some fucking cool Matrix shit that like blows your fucking mind, man.
Right.
Yeah, that is a move. That's for sure a move.
So,
but then your sequels are going to be trash.
And it's very, I mean, it's very obvious. Like when I have that in my mind, it's very obvious. Like from the quality of the movie, that it's not going to exceed my expectations at all. It's going to go right in line with like what this has to be, because they're spending a certain amount of money and they have to like, we're trying to hustle this thing to make it like, we got to use like tried and true methods to try to make our money back.
Yeah.
It's like when you make a low budget zombie movie, it's like, you know what, you're not going to go against the form. You're going to be like, these make this much money. I'm going to spend this much money to make it.
Right.
And that's why horror movies are very profitable for the most part.
Yeah.
But on the meta level, like it's impressive. Like it's obvious, like, well, this is a premise that is very cheap. Like it's impressively cheap how you can make this movie.
It literally takes all the strengths of why horror movies do well, and then it just like builds on those basic premises. So it's like, why do horror movies do well, and which ones are the ones that do the best? The ones that are shot in a single location,
right?
And so what do? We build the cheapest single location we possibly can, and it's brilliant how they do it. All the like you said, like by changing the gels, they change the color of the rooms, and suddenly you don't have just a room. You have literally 17,000 rooms that just change color, and then you're in a different one. And some of them are dangerous, and some of them aren't.
Yeah, I've heard it said that if you want to get a movie made, like make a horror movie spec script that takes place in one or two locations.
Right.
Like that's where budget goes, is filming in multiple locations and multiple people. So if you got a horror movie with like a couple people in them in one location, you can make your money back.
Yeah.
If it's decent.
Yeah, and this one does that in spades. Like this is...
I just thought about it. Like, you don't even need to make a 6-walled cube. Like, you need 5 walls, and then when you need the characters to see invisible wall, you just make them turn around and then turn towards the camera. Be like, oh, now they're looking at that wall.
Wow, that's incredible. We just cut the budget for this thing by a sixth. Right. Dang. Yeah, fools building their fucking full cubes. So there's a couple things that our party does to kind of work their way through what they believe to be the logic of the puzzle, but they're wrong for the vast majority of the time that they're working their way through the puzzle. There's some numbers on the inside of the doors, and they read them, and they're like, "Oh, the ones that are that have prime numbers, those are the dangerous ones."
No, they're
the safe ones.
One of those two.
Yeah. Either the ones that with prime numbers, they're either dangerous or safe, and we're going to work our way through them by that logic. But that premise turns out to be totally untrue, and they make their way through like
20-something cubes.
Tons of them. So the vast majority of these cubes.
And that's the other one where it's like, okay.
Well,
that's pretty convenient that now you want to make it not that.
Yeah, or this is where my like thought process takes place. I'm just like, I give them a total benefit of the doubt. I'm like, oh, well, just the majority of the cubes aren't booby trapped. Mm-hmm. Like they're mostly saved. And I did like the little at the start, the little twist they threw in. So they had the guy who's the escape artist, who's like, he's broken out of multiple prisons, and this is his job basically.
Yeah.
And he's getting them through each room. He's got tons of confidence. He's like, you guys are the problem. Like, you need to focus on the task at hand. Like, just fucking go. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to leave you as soon as you're not helpful to me anymore. So, like, pick up the pace and do what I say. And then he gets acid in his face right away. And that's kind of to me, I liked that part where because I felt so safe with that guy. I was like, this guy's got us. He's gonna.
You know, it would have been great if they had another character. They had the escape artist, but if they also added a pickup artist.
They did. A cop was the pickup artist,
but just like have him like Tom Cruise from Magnolia.
Why are we always trying to insert Tom Cruise into horror movies? Why are we doing that?
He's just a compelling actor.
I can't think of one horror movie that he's been in other than maybe like Eyes Wide Shut. Is that even a horror movie?
I mean, it's close.
It's
There's kind of it's a thriller.
Has Tom
Vanilla
Cruise been
Sky.
in any horror movies?
Vanilla Sky could be.
I haven't
along
seen that. Should I watch that? I love Kubrick.
That's not Kubrick.
Oh, it's not?
Vanilla Sky. I think that's Cameron Crowe.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, I really like Vanilla Sky. I think you would like that one. Anyways, Tom Cruise in Magnolia, where he's the pickup artist.
Yeah. Man, it's been so long since I've seen Magnolia.
I just watched it like last week.
I don't think that's a movie I want to go back and watch.
It's such a great movie. Like that was like that year of movies was the turning point for me in terms of movie appreciation. It was like, oh, these movies are very good and like make me.
What, 2001? Was that when
I think it was 99.
Magnolia was?
Yeah, 99. So it was like Magnolia came out that year. Fight Club came out that year.
Matrix, I think.
Matrix. There's a couple movies that like, wow, those really hold up. I think there might have been a Wes Anderson one that came out too. But that was like a formative year of like, it was my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Like I haven't, like the depth of human experience or like social commentary expressed in film where I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I just realized what it could be versus like Broken Arrow.
Whoa!
Or Independence Day, you know?
Yeah.
Like this movie falls more into like Independence Day territory than Magnolia territory.
I think my favorite comedy of all time came out in 99 too. Yeah, 99 was a really good year. I think Office Space came out in 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one, no one knew about that one until it came out on DVD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think many people saw that in the theaters. It was kind of a flop until rental.
I remember going to see it.
Yeah. I remember seeing the posters and stuff for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
and like everyone knew Mike Judge from Beavis and Butthead.
Well, King of the Hill. I think King of the Hill was on season 3 at
really?
Maybe 4
I didn't know
at
that
point. Let me just check on that.
I didn't know it was running that long. I thought it was after I graduated.
Yeah, King of the Hill started in 97, so it was on like season 3 by Office Space.
Okay.
Anyways,
yeah, we need a pickup artist where he's just being real smooth to like the two women, and then to the guys, it's like, you gotta tame the cunt.
Whoa! Woo! Hot takes.
You gotta dump that bitch. Tom Likas.
Tom Likas. That's Tom Likas.
That's a Tom Likas impression.
Say hello to Snowball. Snowball says, Merry Christmas, Patrick.
What is it? So they work their way through the rooms. They find out they were wrong about the prime numbers. It actually has to do with something with permutations of prime numbers. And for that, they need the autistic guy.
You smell that?
Whoa. No, not appropriate, Bryce. Bad. And this guy's a savant at breaking down prime numbers, so he helps them with their actual quest, which is, hey, we figured out these squares, these cubes move, and the only way to get out is one of them exits the cube reliably at a certain time all the time, right? So like it could be a day between when this thing leaves the cube and comes back. And so they got to find this single cube within the massive hypercube, and they do with the help of this autistic guy, the savant. And so that's called the bridge room. They make their way there. But not without, a bunch of strife between basically the cop and the doctor. The cop has an interesting, like, they both pin each other like pretty well. They're both like, well, you're just a scroungy, you're just a an old hag who hasn't had the dick in too long. And she's like, that hurts. And then she's like, yeah, well, you're just an overly aggressive cop who lost his family because of his temper. And he's like, oh, that hurts a little too much too. And so he drops her out of the cube. He realizes like that he holds the power as he's holding her hand to just be like, this bitch could go. And so he lets her go, proving that he's the bad guy. So it's kind of interesting. I kind of like how they take a bunch of protagonists and like kind of cycle them through the process of each one of them kind of being the bad guy for a moment. You know, they each kind of get to be their own antagonist a little bit.
Yeah, it feels kind of, I mean, that's another thing that felt kind of artificial, where it's like, okay, we have the cop be the protective one and like the hero complex guy for most of the movie, and then just kind of a switch flips. Of like, now he's angry.
That doesn't...
And now he can't stop being angry to the point where he's a homicidal maniac by the end. It's like, I don't know.
Are you a back the blue guy? Is that what you're saying?
David, Blue Lives Matter. That's all I'm saying.
Whoa! This is the hottest take we've ever had.
These are
not the opinions of Horror Movie Talk LLC.
It's one of those things where if you set up a character as this is their internal like motivation of like they want to be the hero or they want to be the protector,
but I don't want to die. Like put that with the complex, fucking incredible existential threat of what you're up against, which is literal starvation and like dehydration, or potentially being gassed or
I just don't.
apart.
I don't know. I don't think people change that much from circumstances. They double down. They double down on who they are. You know.
No, are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't know. I can see this very easily just happening exactly this way. Like the seriousness of the shit kicks in. Like when people panic, they turn into a monster. They turn into animals. You know, it's like that's how it's.
Sure, but I mean, there's a certain amount of leeway of like what happens when someone panics. What happens to their like self. Picture of themselves or like their the mask that they put on in society, and there's a certain leeway with that, and then there's like going completely against every value that you have.
I think there's but it all makes sense, right? Because it's happening as the circumstances are growing more and more dire, right? There's a time limit on how long we can be here. We're fucking up. Like, we got to get out of this thing. Like, we're getting tired.
I just don't think it's good storytelling or character development.
Listen, I cannot understand you. It's crazy. You're a fool. I can't cope with the stupid bitchy. Understand?
It just feels like it's artificial. It feels like they're tacking it on so that it serves the plot. You know, like, okay, we need this to happen now. Who's going to be the villain? Someone raise your hand. Have any volunteers for the villain? Cop guy, like, I guess I could. Okay, you got it. You got it, bro. You get to be the villain now for the rest of the movie.
Tell well, you know.
Well, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And at the end, the only one to escape is the autist. So,
you smell that?
Whoa.
That's the escape.
Get out of here. Yeah, and the cop gets cut in half, shorn in half by the cube on its way back to the hypercube.
Mm-hmm.
So, final recommendations. Do you have any of those for this?
Skip it.
Whoa, I'd say this is a it's a cult classic for a reason. It basically introduced the genre of kind of gore porn and the puzzle box sort of thing, which is still very alive and well.
Sure.
Saw.
What if it was revealed that it was actually the puzzle box from Hellraiser?
Oh, that's such a badass thought. No, I love it because they didn't explain it away, and that's still a possibility. Shut the fuck up, Bryce. Stupid. Oh, my God.
Your compliment was sufficient, Lewis.
So, without any further ado, let's get into the Rotten Tomatoes game. Rotten Tomatoes. Attack the Rotten Tomatoes. So
we did it.
So, Attack of the Rotten Tomatoes is a game where I pit two movies against each other, and Bryce has to guess which one has the higher critical score. So, the critics' score.
So is it going to be a geometry-themed Rotten Tomatoes game?
No, actually, this is going to be a first in the franchise game. That's the theme for this game today. So basically, we're pitting the first movie in each franchise against each other, and Bryce has to figure out which one has the higher Rotten Tomatoes critical score.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Our first pairing is Cube versus Saw. Which one has a higher critic?
Saw. I mean, that's obvious.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, you're fucking stupid and wrong, because Saw has a 51% fresh, whereas Cube has 64. So
what?
Shows what you know, dum-dum. Oh.
Wow. Wow.
In your face. Oh, what's it feel like to be in a room full of your peers and be told you're wrong?
Wow.
That's right. That's right. Don't ever forget. What do you think about that?
That's insane to me. I mean, that has to be because not enough critics have seen Cube.
One guy is like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's good.
So, wow. Okay, so no points on the first
wow.
one. We get a 0. Let me put that down. 0. I'm just making sure to get it.
I just can't. I don't know what life means now.
Well, let me toss you an easy one, since that first one didn't seem...
That was an easy one.
Was it, though? So here's our next pairing. You guys can play along at home. You just tell us how you did in this game. This is going to be a big one, because these are a lot of big names. Here we go. Friday the 13th from 1980 versus Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, or maybe
yeah, it's got to be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Like I said, this is an easy one. Nightmare on Elm Street comes away with one of the highest scores in the entire game today, with a 94% fresh, and Friday the 13th is 63%. So, and I'd say Nightmare definitely earned that one.
Yeah.
So, this next pairing is rough. It's going to be, I don't know if you're going to make it. So you're on the board with 1 point. Next is Alien, the original, with Sigourney Weaver versus Halloween, the original, with Jamie Lee.
Ooh.
Think about this one. I think they were released on the same year. Maybe Alien was the year after, 79? Halloween was 79?
That's hard, because Halloween is just pretentious enough to make reviewers like...
Fuck do you mean by that?
Come. I'm going to go Alien.
Just barely beating Halloween. Just barely. Alien comes in at 98%. And Halloween comes in at, you want to take a guess?
95?
96. Yeah, very close.
This is kind of crazy.
Very close.
Is it that good?
No. No. Obviously, Alien is leaps and bounds much, much better than Halloween.
Okay.
Obviously.
It's got jazz hands.
Okay, so you're on the board with 2 points out of 3. You're coming back. Okay, here's our next one. Child's Play, the original, versus Hellraiser. I believe those were both released in 87, I think.
Ooh.
Might be, one of those might be 88. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's very close, huh?
That one's... you gotta think like critics that are slightly pretentious.
Okay.
And I would have to lean towards...
Tell us what that's like. Put us in see if you can jump into that mind space.
It's hard for me, but I can do it. Like, Hellraiser has more, like, it's taboo.
Mm-hmm.
It's got, like,
is.
sex in it. Critics like sex.
I like it.
Child's Play is like kind of a corny concept to where critics might be.
Both are pretty grimy.
Well, yeah, they're both grimy and they're both hardcore, but the concept of
I like to fuck, man,
of a little baby toy, being a killer, like that's a thing where like critics would feel guilty about liking it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I don't want to be the guy that likes the doll movie. and also, like, I know that sometimes critics get on this moral high horse of, like, Siskel and Ebert were bagging slasher movies because, it's just about killing women and it's depraved.
Bryce.
Sabrina, don't just stare at it. Eat it.
Can you eat it already? What's your answer?
Well, you were asking me.
Yeah. What's your answer?
I didn't have to break it down. You asked me to.
Well, I appreciate it.
I say Hellraiser.
Okay.
I thought that was obvious.
You are correct, but only by 1%.
Wow.
Hellraiser got a 72 and Child's Play got a 71. So close.
Wow.
So close. This is one of my favorite iterations of the Rotten Tomatoes game.
So I won.
Well, there are 7.
Oh, okay.
So you need one more to eke out a total slaughter. Okay, here we go. Gremlins.
It'll be Gremlins.
Versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It'll be Gremlins.
Oh, it'll be Gremlins? Well, I'm sorry, Bryce, but you were fucking...
What?
So stupid. Gremlins got an 85%, and Texas Chainsaw 89%.
Oh,
yeah, buddy.
That can't be at the time.
Ooh, only 2 left. Only 2 left. Here's our next pairing. I did my best to put these together. Critters versus Ghoulies. You haven't seen Critters, have you?
I have not.
You don't know how bad it is.
I think...
But you know how bad Ghoulies is. You have a good idea of how bad Ghoulies is.
I think
now walk us through this. This is going to be good.
Well, I think I saw a review of Critters a while back. I think they have, if it's the one I'm thinking of, well, I know how bad Ghoulies is.
We reviewed Ghoulies on our pretentious episode, which is available now at the $25 tier on Patreon. That's been moved down, so y'all can afford it in a more affordable way. There's a bunch of
that
movies.
$8 was breaking everyone's bank.
Well, I mean, per month, yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a bunch of movies.
Sure.
There's probably 7 or 8 pretentious reviews that you can gain access to that's not on our RSS feed on.
Anyways, yeah. So I think I'm gonna guess Critters.
You are correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and by a wide margin. This is the biggest difference. Critters is 50% fresh versus Ghoulies with an 8%.
8%?
Barely a movie.
Wow.
It was terrible.
It had some charm.
Here's
mostly bad.
So you win, but here's our tiebreaker. This is my favorite pairing so far, and I love all these pairings. The Exorcist, your favorite movie, versus Paranormal Activity.
Oh, that's The Exorcist.
I'm sorry, Bryce. This was a trick question. They are tied.
That's surprising.
Get this. Exorcist is 83% fresh. And so's Paranormal Activity.
That's crazy.
So instead, I'm going to go to audience score.
See, here's the thing. Like, audience score will be Paranormal Activity.
Do you think so?
People are dumb.
I'm sorry, Bryce. That's not correct. It's Exorcist.
Really?
Yeah, Exorcist, they gave it 87%, and Paranormal Activity got 57, which seems bizarre to me.
That's weird. I don't know. I guess it takes all kinds. A lot of people hate those movies.
Yeah, I would have thought that the audience would have hated Exorcist.
Yeah. It's trendy to shit on The Exorcist since it's like
the best.
Self-advertised as the scariest movie of all time.
Right.
Kind of thing. I wasn't scared.
I didn't get... Or...
Can you give me a list of movies that are actually scary?
Dude,
I've seen so many scary movies, I can't be scared anymore. Give me a list of scary movies.
Okay, hang on. Now.
Every fucking day in our horror on Reddit.
Can you do that one more time? Can you channel your Reddit idiot for me? I'm gonna put this on our Snap. On our Insta.
Can you give me a list of scary movies? I see a lot of scary movies and I can't be scared anymore. So give me a list of movies that are actually scary.
Okay, here's The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity. Have you seen those?
Not scary.
Those didn't scare you at all?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's something about these people. I don't know what it is. Why are they the way they are? Like, okay, go watch some snuff films. That'll scare the ever-loving shit out of you.
I mean, it's just...
That's illegal.
No.
Don't do that.
No, they're not scary. I've seen so many death videos on the internet. They don't scare me anymore.
Well, yeah, if you watch a bunch of snuff films, you're just going to get off on it.
I mean, it's like a fundamental, like...
Don't watch them. They're illegal.
Misunderstanding of...
Get you put on lists.
What the movies are there for.
What are the movies there for?
I don't know. It's not...
I don't know.
It's like you can't... It's the same thing with comedies. Like, it's so easy to be like, I didn't laugh that much. It's like, well, you did laugh. Like, it is successful because you laughed at some point in the movie.
Right.
And, like, it's just...
Yeah, but
your expectations of how many laughs. You know?
Even the blind...
I only got jumped once, but it was a cheap scare. It's like, okay. All right, asshole. Like, what's it like to feel that superior?
Yeah, why would you do that to yourself? It just is so defeating. I mean, you're not, by doing that, you're making it so that you won't be scared. You're going into it not even wanting to be scared.
Right. And also, it's like setting up a premise that maybe the filmmaker wasn't attempting to do.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you want to be like shocked and scared, like there's formulas that they can do. I mean, the Conjuring movies are just like feed in the time codes algorithm into like, well, this is how much setup you need for a jump scare. And this is the music that you got to play. Then you subvert those by doing a jump scare here. Like, there's cheap ways to get scares, but there's a lot more to horror movies than that. There's like dread. There's, like subliminal fears and social commentary that can't exist in other movies. And it's just, I don't know. It's such a binary way to think about movies,
Yeah. I would like to mention before we go, I would like to say that if you guys are excited about Mike Flanagan's new series, Midnight Mass, it's going to be coming out sometime soon, and we will be releasing...
It's coming out on the 24th of September.
And we will be releasing a series of after shows to accompany the release of Midnight Mass. So get ready on Netflix.
It's very good. I've watched most of it, and it's not necessarily what you would expect, but it's the same quality that you can come to expect from Mike Flanagan. So I'm really excited for people to see it, and I'm really excited to do these series of after shows, which we had a very successful run for Haunting of Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House. And this is not like those series. I'll just tell you that right now. If you're expecting like another haunting movie, it's not going to be that. but it's a great series.
Is it horror?
It's horror, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys be on the lookout for that the end of September, and we sure do appreciate you. If you like this show, you can support it very simply by just sharing it with the people you know and love. That helps us out tremendously. And if they share it with the people they know and love, then boom, then that's like that's a ton of fucking people. So another way to support the show other than just sharing it, which is the easiest way, is, support us on Patreon. Click through that Amazon link at the top of our website. That gives us a little cut of whatever you buy in the next 24 hours off of Amazon. And special thanks to everybody who has supported the show so far. We really couldn't do it without you. If you'd like to get a hold of us and drop us some of them juicy voicemails, do so at 682-253-4468. You guys have a great week. Watch The Cube, and or don't.
Or not.
And have a great week. We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Pretend kiss, Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face huggers, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare him, no expert. And Goble fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares, ain't fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, horror movie talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
You smell that?
Retard stink.
Oh, sorry. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.